Hey everybody, this is Rykard here again, and welcome to another Pokemon Sets video where we're talking about all the new Mega Pokemon introduced in Pokemon Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire. In today's video, we're going to be discussing Mega PIdgeot, so let's get started by taking a look at this Pokemon's typing, ability, and stats. So to start things off, Mega PIdgeot, much like the regular version of Pidgeot, possesses the normal flying typing that we have seen many times before on our favorite bird Pokemon throughout the generations. But the main interesting thing about this Mega Evolution is that Pidgeot, in favor of the Tangled Feet, Keen Eye, or Big Peck's ability, acquires the No Guard ability instead. And for those of you that don't know, the No Guard ability makes it so that all of your attacks directed at your opponent and all of your opponent's attacks directed at you will have 100% accuracy, meaning that you can never miss and your opponent also will never be able to miss. So there is that bit of a drawback in that your opponent also gains the effects of No Guard as well, but for Mega PIdgeot, being able to fire off 100% accurate hurricanes is going to be the bane of any Pokemon's existence that is in the way of its line of fire. And this is even more so augmented by the fact that Pidgeot's Mega Evolution stats drastically increase its special attack. And if you take a look right here, you can see that for Pidgeot, it has a base 70 special attack, but when it Mega Evolves, it gets increased by 65 points, bringing it up to a base of 135, which is just insane for this Pokemon, especially when it's going to be firing off such powerful flying type moves, which also have a 30% chance to confuse your opponent on top of that. Now, some other things to note about how the stats change when it does Mega Evolve is that its defense gets increased by a whopping 5 points, its special defense gets increased by 10 points, and its speed gets increased by 20 points, which is actually even more so of an increase than this Pokemon already got this generation, because if you did not know, Pidgeot's speed stat actually got increased in Pokemon X and Y to make it a bit faster and bring it up to that base 101 speed that we are seeing today. So with the Mega Evolution, it becomes even more so faster to allow it to outspeed a ton of things on the battlefield and then additionally dish out a ton of damage with its immense special attacking stat that it acquires through this Mega Evolution. So with that, let's take a look at the first set that I have for you in this video. So for this first set, we're going to begin by giving Pidgeot either a timid nature to increase its speed but lower its physical attack, or a naive nature to increase its speed but lower its special defense. And for the ability, you could either go with Tangled Feet to get potentially an evasion boost if you're able to get confused before you Mega Evolve, or the Big Peck's ability to make it so that your physical defense cannot be lowered before you Mega Evolve for the regular version of Pidgeot. Either way, both of these are pretty effective options. You can go with either. It's really whichever one you want to choose here, but just keep in mind that Keen Eye is completely useless for this Pokemon because once it Mega Evolves and gets the No Guard ability, there is no need to have an ability beforehand that makes it so that your accuracy can't be lowered or you ignore the evasion of your opponent. So for the EVs though, we're going to put 252 into special attack to max that out, 4 into its special defense, and then the remainder 252 EVs into its speed to max that out as well, along with the use of the Pidgeotite item. And as for the moves, the first one we're going to be going with is obviously going to be our main stab flying type attack, which will have 100% accuracy thanks to the No Guard ability, which takes the form of the move Hurricane. And this move overall will just be an amazing option for this Pokemon to run, especially because it does have that 30% chance to confuse the opponent, potentially giving you multiple opportunities to harass your opponent through the use of confusion or just more damage and all that kind of stuff. So Hurricane is just a great move overall and an amazing move for Mega PIdgeot to make use of thanks to the No Guard ability. But Hurricane isn't all you'll need to be able to do whatever you want to with Mega PIdgeot, so you do need some coverage moves, and the first one that you're definitely going to want to go with is going to be Heat Wave, which will be an excellent move to allow you to have a super effective move against the steel types that Hurricane unfortunately is unable to hit through due to it resisting flying type attacks. So Heat Wave along with Hurricane will give you some excellent coverage overall, allowing you to hit a variety of types for at least neutral damage and prove to be a very effective and threatening special attacker to your opponent's team. But there are also some other options that we can use with Mega PIdgeot to allow it to be even more threatening. Hidden Power Ground can be an excellent way to deal with rock types, which obviously Hurricane will also be not very effective against, and HP Ground can be especially great against a Pokemon like Heatran if you are using Mega PIdgeot in the OU tier, as this will hit this Pokemon for 4 times super effective damage, as it will be resisting your Hurricane and be immune to Heat Wave because of the Flash Fire ability. So Hidden Power Ground is an excellent option specifically for Heatran, but it can also work for a variety of other Pokemon as well. But if you do want to add some priority to your set, you are more than welcome to also run Quick Attack, which might seem a little odd to run on a primarily special attacking set, but priority is priority, and if you get the opportunity to outspeed your opponent and take it out at a low range of health before it's able to sweep through your team, you do it if that is pretty much what you want to be able to do with this Mega PIdgeot. So Quick Attack is definitely an option, and if you were to run Quick Attack, this is where I would recommend you run the Naive Nature, because this will allow you to obviously not have your physical attack lowered, allowing Quick Attack to be as powerful as it can be with obviously max special attack in your EV spread. And for the last option, you could either run U-Turn to scout your opponents and have a way to get switch initiative and also just another attack. And if you do want a more powerful U-Turn, obviously go with Naive over Timid. But you could also run this as a boosting set and run Work Up in the last move slot to allow Pidgeot a way to boost both its physical attack and its special attack, and thus do more damage with all of its attacks as a result. And this can be used alongside Quick Attack as well, because you could be boosting the damage that your priority attack is doing through the use of Work Up. But if you want to just go fully special, obviously Hurricane, Heat Wave, and Hidden Power Ground would be the way to go. But overall, this is just the main attacking set that you're probably going to want to run on your Mega PIdgeot, and there are a few other options in here, such as using Quick Attack or Work Up instead of Hidden Power Ground or U-Turn, that can allow you to kind of achieve some more uniqueness in your set with Mega PIdgeot and kind of take advantage of some of the other options that this Pokemon is able to run. As for this next set, we have a bit of a more safe way to allow Mega PIdgeot to retain its sweeping power and deal a ton of damage to your opponent's teammates. So we're going to start this one off by giving Pidgeot a Timid Nature to increase its speed but lower its physical attack, and for the ability, going with either the Tangled Feet or Big Peck's ability yet again. As for the EVs, we're going to run the same EV spread as the previous set, with 252 EVs into its special attack, 4 into its special defense, and 252 EVs into its speed, along with the use of the Pidgeotite item. But as for the moves, the first thing that we're going to be going with this time is going to be Substitute, which will allow us to get behind a protective barrier to shield us from attacks and statuses at the expense of 25% of our HP. But the great thing about this is that because we are using Substitute on such a fast and powerful Pokemon, your opponent will have a very difficult time breaking your subs without taking a ton of damage in the process, because they're going to have to worry about breaking the Substitute and taking possibly 1 to 2 attacks from your Hurricane or whatever move you're going to be going for in the process of trying to break the sub. So it becomes a very effective way to get Pidgeot a safe option to deal a lot of damage to your opponent's team, and becomes even more so augmented by the fact that when we are using Hurricane, we do have that 30% chance to confuse our opponent. And if our opponent does get confused and hit themselves in their confusion, that gives us another opportunity to set up a Substitute on the turn that they do hit themselves in confusion, making you even more difficult to take out now that you have another Substitute up and they're going to have to figure out a way to break it. But along with Hurricane, we're only going to be running one coverage move to be used along with our main stab flying type attack on this set. So you can either go, again, with Hidden Power Ground or Heat Wave for this set. I can't say at this point in time which one is the better option. Both have their advantages and disadvantages when compared to each other, so it's really whichever one you think is going to be most useful based upon the type of Pokemon you think you are going to be up against. But for the last move slot, we are going to be running Roost, which will be a way to allow Mega PIdgeot to regain a lot of HP that is lost by Substitute, and maybe some HP that is lost by Stealth Rock or other things like that in battle, to keep it nice and healthy, and also potentially take advantage of the confusion that could come from Hurricane if your opponent does hit themselves in confusion, because obviously this will give you a free turn to Roost and heal up a ton of your health that you would have otherwise had no opportunity to do so with. So overall, this set, even though it's very similar to the previous one in that it is meant to be a powerful special attacker, does it in such a way that is quite a bit safer and allows Mega PIdgeot a way to last a lot longer on the battlefield. And as for this last set, we're going to begin by giving Mega PIdgeot the same nature, the same ability choices, the same EV spread, and the same item as the previous set. But the main difference between the two and the one that you have seen previously is how this set functions as a way to support your teammates and also scout out things on your opponent's side of the field. So the first one that we're going to be going with on this set is going to be Defog, which is a move that allows you to rid the entire field of entry hazards, whether they be ones that you set up on your opponent's side of the field or ones your opponent set up on your side of the field. And this is especially great for supporting your team because you do not want your teammates to be taking the unnecessary damage every single time they switch in on your side of the field. And also, this is especially important for Mega PIdgeot, as this Pokemon is weak to Stealth Rock being a flying type. So Defog helps it in itself last a lot longer in battle if it is able to get rid of those entry hazards. One thing to keep in mind though when using this move though is that this move also simultaneously lowers the evasion of whatever Pokemon is out on your opponent's side of the field, and this can be taken advantage of by your opponent if they do predict the Defog by switching in a Pokemon with either Defiant or Competitive as their ability, because they could turn the evasion decrease into an increase in both their physical attack or their special attack respectively. But along with Defog, again, we're obviously going to be running Hurricane because no Mega PIdgeot set is complete without it. And then for the next move, you have the option of running either U-Turn, Hidden Power Ground, or Heat Wave, depending on what type of coverage you want to get along with using Defog and Hurricane on this set. U-Turn allows you an effective way to scout your opponent and give Pidgeot the opportunity to basically just switch in, get rid of hazards or damage something, and then switch right out with U-Turn while gaining switch initiative in the process. But Hidden Power Ground and Heat Wave, as I've mentioned previously, do give you some great type coverage, allowing you to hit a lot of things for super effective damage that Hurricane would not be able to. But for the last move on this set, again, we are going to be going with Roost as a way to allow Pidgeot to retain its HP at a comfortable level, allowing it to potentially take a hit if it needs to, or deal with any residual damage that it might have acquired throughout the battle. Now, I will be honest in saying that I don't know specifically if this EV spread is 100% optimized for this particular set, because in my opinion, this set functions extremely similarly to the way Crobat is used a lot in UU, where it basically uses this exact same set, except for the fact that instead of Hurricane, it runs Brave Bird. And that Pokemon functions very well at doing what it does in terms of defogging things and switching out with U-Turn and keeping its health up throughout battle. But being someone that likes to be able to do a lot of damage while also being able to support the team, I personally chose to run a max special attacking set with max speed because I felt like that is the way that I would personally run this type of set to be able to do a lot of damage with Hurricane and also be able to support my team, like I said before. But you are free to change up this EV spread if you would like to, and maybe try and optimize it if you think there is a better way to do so. But overall, I like the way this is right now, and obviously, like always, you are free to interpret these as you will yourself and change them up if you would like to. But anyways, everybody, that is it for this video. Mega PIdgeot is by far my favorite Mega Pokemon introduced this generation, and I am extremely happy that there are so many different things that it can do, and the fact that it is able to do all of these things that we know it can do very effectively. But anyways, like I've said, that is it for this video, everybody. So as always, take care, goodbye, and I will see you all next time.